The new mixing system works pretty good. Feed system seems to work pretty well. It's faster, that's for sure. These are the nukes, quote unquote nukes, the hives I moved in the other day from out yards. They were started this year. They're all light. They need a lot of weight gain before fall. So getting them sorted out. This one was in 2 boxes. It had a feeder in the bottom, so I removed that. I added 2 foundations down there in the center because I'm not going to go back down there and checkerboard or anything. Got 2 feeders up top. Of course, this hive needs to be leveled out a little bit. I can tell once I get feed in them. But to prevent drowning in these motherlode feeders, the motherlodes are a lot cheaper than the man lakes, which this is a man lake with the wood top. You get less drowning with the man lakes, but the motherlodes are a lot cheaper and easier to clean out. So I'm trying some 1/8" hardware cloth in these open wells instead of what I used last year, was just shove some pine needles in there. I think that hardware cloth will do the same thing and be cleaner. The pine needles tend to go everywhere, getting the comb stuck to the propolis and everything. So we'll see how this works. Got some time to sort through this yard. First time these have really been worked, so I'll spend some time in here today. So these are nukes I moved in at night from out yards. These are all swarm cell queens or emergency splits, stuff like that. And got them in here a week ago. Got the first round of feed into them. And this is gonna be the first check back. I just want to see growth mainly. Hopefully they're gonna be drawing comb. Some of these were in 2s, some were in singles. I added boxes to some. I've got several that are in 3 boxes now. I can look down through here and tell I need to level some out a little better. But we'll do that over time. They're not big enough to worry about falling over right now. So this one got 2 gallons. These seem to be working pretty good. And they have started drawing all of these. I've got 6 foundations up here. They've started drawing all of them. I gave them 1 bait frame from below. So we'll just give them another 2 gallons and rock on. Well, first 2 I've looked at, that's a good sign. Drawing all 6 frames. This one I didn't even bring a bait frame up. They're big enough, they want to grow. Nukes want to grow. That's good, we'll give them another 2 gallons and move on. These man lake feeders are quite a bit harder to get 2 of them in a super with 6 frames than the mother loads are. I'll say that about them. This one I obviously gave 2 gallons to, and they have mostly drawn out 6 frames here, so I'll give them 2 more gallons and then plan on giving them a box probably next week. Might be able to get them to go into 3. They're showing some optimism, that's good. I think this yard has been weed eated 3 or 4 times already this year. It's amazing the vegetative growth that we're having with all the rain that we've had the last 2 months. It's just amazing how much everything's growing. Cattle farmers can't get their hay crop in. This is the first week that everybody's been able to lay hay down. Tremendous vegetative growth, but I was afraid that the wet conditions were going to affect the sumac flow because it does best when it's hot and dry. And you know, I got these drawn supers to put on a bunch of hives, and they've been on a week or 10 days now, and they're not even up here working. That's really disappointing. Scale hives are kind of showing the same thing. Bees lost weight during the rain, and they've just barely started to gain now, but I don't think the flow is going to come in to get these boxes full. Just is what it is. Last year was really good this time of year. You know, we made 30 or 35 pounds in about 12 days from June 12th to the 24th, and today's June 24th, and we haven't made anything. So it is what it is. Varies year to year. I think it's 96 or 98 degrees today and humid. Makes it really hard to get excited about beekeeping. I need to get my honey harvest started, but I am not waking up right now saying, man, let's go pull honey today. I'm waking up in the morning thinking I need to be back in the house in the air conditioning by 1 o'clock. I've sort of been waiting on the sumac flow to get over with before I really get into honey pulling, and I'm afraid that it may be over with. I'm afraid it just didn't come in. So it's time to start thinking about getting honey off hives and getting supers with foundation and feeders back on, and try to get some boxes drawn while I still can. Do some heavy feeding, try to sneak some more foundations in. We're taking a beach vacation like the 1st of July, and I was thinking, okay, that'll be a good time. After that, I'll come back and just deal with honey and feeding. I really need to get my nukes settled, get them all with feeders and where they need to go, get them stabilized for a while, and maybe next week try to sneak a yard or two into the honey house and get that process started. I've got new process, new equipment, so I'm gonna have some bugs to iron out. Be good to go ahead and get started with it and get the process nailed, and then hopefully get a yard or two fed with new boxes and foundations getting drawn while I'm on vacation. That would be ideal. I don't have a lot of time before that starts, so I'm betting I just need to get ready for everything and then try to hit it hard as soon as we get back. So I'm in my mating yard, adding boxes with feeders and getting these hives fed. I ran out of syrup after this first batch here. I had to go make a new tank, and I ran the pump dry. See what I'm doing there? These are pretty small, so I'm not giving them 2 full gallons. Give them enough to get working though. And I ran the pump dry before I left. Went and made another batch of syrup. I've got 80 gallons or so there. That's all I need today. It's so hot that I don't want it to cook and ferment, so I'm trying to make just what I need. Pump was dry. Try to feed the first hive when I get back. Pump is not primed. It self-primes, but it didn't want to self-prime. Well, one thing I really do like about this pump, it's good quality. It's got a priming screw right here on the housing. All you gotta do is loosen that up a little bit. It breaks the airlock and primed as quick as you please. Love good quality stuff. So nice. So this is how I'm setting up my feed boxes. I've actually got some partially drawn frames from last year. When I run honey through the extractors, I pull out my partially drawn frames and put them in separate boxes, and then I can use them to make nukes and things like that. I want to know that I've got boxes of fully drawn comb and then boxes of not fully drawn comb. These have actually been re-waxed, so they're good and sticky. And I've changed the way that I'm doing my feeders. I've come to really prefer the mother load feeders in the system that I run. There's a few reasons for that. They're cheaper for one, but I think they work better. When I'm trying to squeeze 2 feeders and 6 frames into a medium 10 frame, the mother loads fit better than the Man Lake wood top feeders do. The problem I've had with the mother loads over the years is these open wells are too big, and I get drowning on small colonies. Usually big strong colonies, it doesn't matter. Small colonies, I get drowning, and then that becomes a place for hive beetles to breed. So last year I was shoving pine needles down in these open wells. The pine needles get stuck everywhere in the propolis and the comb, makes a mess. This year I've experimented with some Z-shaped hardware cloth, but I think I much prefer this. This is just a strip of 1/8" hardware cloth. I keep this in a roll. You know, it comes in a 3-foot long by 50-foot or 75-foot roll. So I just tape it and then cross cut it with a metal saw and then unroll it and cut to length. So that's real quick and easy. And just slides down in there, gives the bees something to grab onto all the way down. Won't fall out, won't stick to the lids. I think that's gonna work great. So these feeders set up like this, I think, are by far my favorite. It's not even 11 a.m. yet. It's 10:45. I have sweated through everything I'm wearing, including my socks inside my boots. I think it's 89 or 90 right now, but the feels like is 101 Fahrenheit. It is so humid. All this rain that we've had the last 2 weeks. So it's important to stay hydrated. I've got a gallon water jug over here that's 3/4 empty already. And I also like to take some air conditioning breaks. That's what I'm doing right now. Just get cooled off some. And I'm probably gonna quit working today at noon. You know, it's better to start early and quit early than try to work through the hot part of the day. 2 years ago, I pushed too much and started getting dizzy and felt sick, and you know, thought I was on the edge of heat stroke or something. And since then, I've tried to be a little more careful. It's kind of nice this year that I'm not having to push as hard as I have the last 2 years. You know, this is my 3rd year of scaling into a full-time business, and you put a lot of sweat equity in when you're starting a business. And now I've got enough of an asset base under me that I don't have to kill myself quite as hard as I have the last 2 years. Last year I worked myself to death. It was a rough year, but it's sort of like a flywheel. You know, old machinery had flywheels. It uses momentum. It takes a lot of energy to get that flywheel turning, but once you get it turning, it keeps that momentum going. And that's kind of how business works. Every year you're building capability, you're building asset base, you're building revenue generation. And for instance, this year I'm just now starting to feed nukes. The last 2 years I've been desperate to try to get my bees to grow and to increase my hive counts as much as I possibly could. This year I made more earlier and let them grow on the nectar flow, so they've been living on the free stuff and growing on that. And once the free stuff dries up, that's when I'm jumping in and trying to get them to grow. I've got enough feeders now that I can give them 2 gallons at a stretch at a feeding. I've got a feed rig and trailer and everything set up, so the work is so much more efficient this year that I don't have to kill myself and stress about it quite as much. So it's really nice to be able to work until noon, and then when it's heat index 110, I can be in the air conditioning doing office work or something. That's my pine needle bucket, smoker fuel. I filled this up yesterday, and a house wren built a nest in it. Yesterday afternoon or this morning, I guess. That's funny. Got some hair from my dogs in there. Going through mating nukes. It's a Corey Stevens virgin. I dropped in on 5/22. Today's 6/26. She's doing a really good job for not having a lot of flow. So we're gonna add a box with 2 feeders, give them 2 gallons, and try to grow them. Working pretty well. I'm about to be in the shade, which is a good thing. I'm sweating like a racehorse. Parker is 17 and plays soccer, so he's not even warm right now. He might have to put a sweater on later. I'm over here dying. All right, we just got 2 or 3 more, and then go find something else to do. So these are the nukes I moved in from out yards. They're all growing. Some have got some issues. See how they do. This one is a good one. They've now had 4 gallons of syrup. I fed them earlier this week, and that is, today's Thursday. I think I fed them Monday or Tuesday. And that is almost gone. And they've drawn out 6 frames of foundation. So I'm gonna add a box of foundation to them, move their feeders up to the top. I'll put 4 foundations in the center of this box. So I don't have to, I'll have drawn frames on the outside of it, so I don't have to worry about going back and making sure that they draw it. I'll check the bottom when I do this, make sure there are no undrawn foundations down there. This is really good production. It's I don't know what the cost per gallon is on my syrup. I can figure that out, but that is really good productivity. I'm happy with that. Just caught a real nice bass on top water. Tough to get the hook out. And he got me as I was getting the hook out. He flopped real big when I had my hand in his mouth. Got me with the second hook. I don't know how I'm gonna get that out. That does not feel good. I'd cut the hook with my pliers. That doesn't feel good at all. So I know what to do about this. This hook's in past the barb. It's buried 1/4 inch in my thumb. It's outside the bone. I know I can twist it and push it through. And if I can get it to break the surface again, then I can get it out. That way I won't be pulling against the barb. But I'm also old enough to just go to the ER and let them shoot me up with lidocaine and cut the thing out and stitch it up and clean it out and everything. So I'm headed to the ER. Let them work on it. It hurts. Well, lidocaine's great. I'm sure that will be expensive, but sometimes paying professionals to do a job is worth the money. Got a tetanus shot. Some lidocaine made it a whole lot easier. They just pushed it through and grabbed it from the front end, got it out. So one of my bee yard landowners had some old bee equipment sitting here that was empty. I've got a bee yard on his property now with 24 colonies, and he sent me a text a few days ago and told me I need to come get these bees that are living in his barn. It's probably one of my swarms that came out of my hive and found this old equipment and moved in. I don't know if there's frames in there or what. It's probably a mess, but that looks like a pretty big colony. Oh good, they've got frames in there. I don't know about the second box, but see how heavy they are? They're not too bad. I could probably pick that up and move it myself, but it'd be easier to come in and get it with the hive lifter.